Hey guys, I want to just give you a quick update on what I'm doing over the next couple weeks. Okay, first of all, I really wanted to make another tutorial video. This time I wanted to focus more on how I classified units and what categories I put them in to help them, sort out what their what their biggest assets and flaws are and how best to use them. And I have a whole classification system, planned out for this video, and then I realized, wait, all that stuff is really mathy, and I haven't explained any of the actual systems of Fire Emblem in detail yet. So I'm not going to go into everything, but I'm going to explain how and why things work as they do in Fire Emblem before we go into that, to help new players and to, further help explain people who play the games and enjoy them but don't necessarily know everything that's going on. So then I thought, well, this topic is really too big for even the 2 episodes I have planned. It's a massive topic. This mechanics, telling you about how Fire Emblem works, like in the math side, that could take a while. So I decided to split it up into a couple different topics. Today we're going to be talking about attributes of the characters and their combat statistics. Next week, then we'll talk about support conversations. Yeah, let's do support conversations and unit placement. After that, we'll do, sometime in the middle of that, I will be doing my top 10 list, and then after all of that, I'll finally get to do the talk I first envisioned on unit guides and how to use them in general, my own personal classification system. So, whatever, it'll take a month, but we'll get to it. I'm gonna hype it or something. It'll be great. Anyway, guys, so let's jump right into the topic right now. After a whole 3 minutes, yes, I know, sorry. After 3 minutes, let's jump into our topic. We're gonna be segueing to some video showing you guys how the attributes work in Fire Emblem. I lied. We will be going to video in a second, but first I wanted to make a disclaimer that the combat and the statistics and all that stuff in Fire Emblem kind of changes a little bit game to game, so I can't give you exact representations without going into the details of each individual title. So I'm just going to put it out there, whatever I say is going to change a little bit from game to game, and I'm not going to give you any exact equations or anything to put your stuff into unless they're generic for the entire series. Anything I say will be applicable for the entire series, or else I will specifically say this does not apply to the entire series. Just want to put that out there. Now let's finally jump to some video content. I'm pointing over there because that's where my console is, but I'm not going to let you see it because it's a secret to everybody. So now we're looking at a character page from Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn. The game isn't important, it's just convenient for me to record from a Wii game. So, we're going to look at their attributes over here. We're going to also look at these weapon descriptions and the combat statistics up here. All while staring at the handsome mug of this Soth character. No, I'm not gay, I just... What? I can't say he's handsome? Well, fudge. Oh, hello, Micaiah. Anyway, so, we're going to go over the stats really quickly. In an order that's not going to make any sense, but I will explain to you shortly. These are the abilities, or attributes as I like to call them, are their innate thingamabobbers. Whenever you level up, one of these will increase, or maybe not, depending if you're really unlucky. One or more of them. In fact, all of them could go up, and that doesn't happen very often, but, it can happen. So, these are your natural attributes. Over here are your combat statistics. These are determined largely in part by your ability scores over here. They also are affected by your weapon you're using and various other things like supports, unit placement, all kinds of nonsense that we'll go into in a different rant. So, by the way, I'm on chapter 10. I'm on the last chapter here. Not important, it's just random data. Okay, so we're going to start with HP because it's easy. HP is a static amount of life you have. It's your life total, and when it drops to 0, you're dead. A lot of units have pretty mediocre HP. There are only a few that have really notably high, like fighters maybe, and a few others have really terrible ones like Pegasus Knights. These It's really a weird one, though, to start off with, because it has such a weird progression. You can only get 1 point of HP per level, but most characters' HP growth is higher than average. This is because it's actually less valuable than the other ones. As you can see, dang it. His HP is 40, while the rest of the stats are in the 20 range. So, what does that say? Well, it says that it's turns out, about half as useful, or even maybe a third as useful as some of the other stats. Note that rogues actually have pretty low HP, so that means it's probably not a perfect representation, but whatever. Okay, in case you're wondering why all these stats are glowing, it's because that it has reached its natural limit. Each class has set limits as to how good it can get in that particular class, and so there's already maxed out his strength, defense, and resistance, actually HP as well. So those will not go up when he levels up, for sure. It will only these 4 have any chance of going up. Keep on accidentally scrolling to other characters. Okay, so now we're going to discuss strength. It increases the damage of your physical attacks. Yes! It also actually can make you kind of faster in a way, but I'm not going to go into that just yet. It increases damage of physical attacks. It's important for everybody that uses physical attacks, and it's even important for magic users for reasons I will not go into right now. Magic. It's not important for physical units at all, ever. Just ignore it completely. But it is super helpful for magic units. It's like, it's the throwaway stat. One of these is going to be pretty terrible. Skill. It increases your chance to hit the enemy. Very important, I think. Personally, I think it's a very, very, very important stat. Now, I probably overestimate a little because I love getting critical hits, but that's the next part. It also helps your chance to get critical hits, which can be very important. Anyway, it ups your chance to hit, and it ups your chance to critical. Alright, speed. I don't know why they abbreviate it like that, but whatever. That's all it is. It's your Anyway. It's, look right there. Look at that. Look at this. It's so helpful. It affects the unit's dodge and how many times it will strike. Yes, exactly. A higher speed will increase your dodge. I'm not going to go into exact calculations for how it does that because it would be too complicated, and you can go look it up yourself for each individual game. Speed increases your chance to dodge. Also, if your speed, or rather your AS, or attack speed up here, is at least 4 higher than opponent's speed, this unit attack more than once. You know what? I just realized something. This information bubble thing is amazing. You just look at it and it'll tell you everything. This is great. Luck. Now that is just vague. This affects many different things. Well, I'll tell you what it affects. Exactly. Usually, about half of it is added on to your chance to hit, and half is added on to your chance to evade. You can look at it as like you're splitting it up between those things, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't provide as big of a bonus to dodge, and it doesn't provide as speed, and it doesn't provide as big of a bonus to hit as skill, but it's still very helpful because it provides a large bonus to both of them, and it also determines your critical evade or dodge. You can see it's exactly the same as your luck. So, anyway. That is pretty simple. Luck is actually more important than most people give it credit for. I personally think it's one of the more important stats now. I used to hate it. Now that I understand it, though, it's pretty great. Defense. That directly reduces the amount of damage you take. If you would take 40 damage from a physical attack and you have 20 defense, you will now take 20 damage. It's just straight up damage reduction. That's all there is to it. Okay. Resistance is exactly the same way, except it reduces damage taken from magic sources. That is all it does. That's it. It's simple as pie. It's it. Okay. Now that we have a basic understanding of what all of these do, we're going to quickly look over the weapons and then go on to the attack statistics. All right. He uses knives. You can tell because he's equipped with knives, but more importantly than that, when you open up this little help bubble, which is actually a very
helpful, important thing for you to do. You should always look at these combat statistics, for weapons at least. You can see it is a knife at level D, which is a rather low rank, which means just about anyone can use it. It has a might of 2. Might adds a bonus onto your damage, as we said. I don't know if I think I said that. Yeah. Anyway, you add your strength bonus to your might, and then you get your attack. And that is how much damage you will do, minus the opponent's defense. And that's how damage is calculated. He has 24 attack right now. If he was to... he can't. This guy has 12 defense, as you can see here. So, if he has 24 attack, minus 12 defense, that means he will deal 12 damage per hit to the enemy. And it's that simple. I mean, there are a few other things that you might want to factor in, but that's generally all you're going to have to worry about. Okay, as for hit, now that just looks daunting. He has 142 hit. What the crap is that? That means he has a 142% chance to hit. Oh, makes sense now, right? Okay, so the enemy bowman actually has an avoid of 54, and he'll subtract that from his hit, giving you, I don't know, like 85 or something like that, meaning you have an 85% chance to hit that enemy. It's pretty simple. Now, how you get that hit, that's a little more complicated. You start with this base hit on the weapon of 65, then add some weird bonus from skill, like, I don't know, I think it's like 2 times your skill or something weird like that. That'd be 48. Yeah, it's something like that. I don't know. And then there are other bonuses and crap. It's kind of complicated. I don't fully understand hit in every game. But anyway, that's your percent chance. He has a void of 70 which is calculated from his speed and various other things. Blah 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 blah. It's important to know how these work, though. When you're attacking, you have a 140% chance minus the opponent's avoid of whatever it is. So if he was attacking himself, you'd actually have like a 70% chance to hit himself still. That's pretty good. Alright. Critical is the percent chance out of 100 that he will critical hit and inflict triple damage, as it says there. And triple damage is calculated after their defense is subtracted, which means an attack that would do 12 damage would do 13 damage, not like 50 something because you're ignoring their defense. No, it doesn't work like that. You triple the damage you would deal. You don't triple the damage in general. Never mind. You get the idea. So 12% chance, about 1 in 10 attacks, 1 in 8 attacks will have a critical hit. You can increase that by using killer weapons and other things. You're getting a bonus from your skill. We get the idea. Now, look, I'm pretty sure that your crit is just half of your skill. 24 divided by 2 would be 12 crit. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. There might be some more to it than that. I know supports are a good way of doing it, of increasing it, but anyway. Dodge is your chance to evade enemy criticals. Now, this is where it gets complicated. Like, if I have a crit of 12 and this enemy has a dodge of 9, that means I absolutely only have a 3% chance to get a critical hit, which is kind of lame, but not much you can do about it right now. And finally, range. Your range is, how far are we? If it's range 1, you can only hit enemies that are directly next to you, not diagonals. Only one space directly next to you. If it's 2 range, you can only hit on diagonals or 2 spaces away normally. And you always count by squares, you can't count diagonally. And if it's 1 to 2, you can attack it either, which is very helpful. I highly recommend equipping a weapon like that from time to time. I don't know how this happened, but I think I segued from talking about the weapon to talking about this. But anyway, let's finish up with this. Your hit is how accurate it is. Your crit adds a bonus to crit. This one does not, because it's a piece of crap. This one does, though. It adds a +5 crit. The weight is actually an interesting thing. It has a weight of 2. Now, to explain that, we have to go into attack speed. Your attack speed is your speed minus the difference in weight of the weapon from strength. Now, that sounds ridiculous, but look at this. as weight 2. If your strength isn't greater than 2, if it's like 1, then it'll weigh you down by 1 point, and your attack speed would be 23. Now, this sounds ridiculous, like it'll never come into play, but it does, especially with magic users. Let me give you an example. Alright. Wait. Oh, bad example. She a freaking terrible example. No, never mind. But anyway, sometimes there are certain tomes that might have like a weight of 5, and that would weigh her down. And because, you know, magic users don't often have high strength. So it could happen, but, you know, it won't happen too often. That would just about cover everything here. But before we go, I wanted to very, very quickly touch on this last butter nugget of delight. I forgot. Resistance, speed, skill, magic, HP. Oh, right. Now I want to show you guys all of this in action. I want to show you how this all works together to give you a coordinated, sensical experience. So, let's examine Micaiah for a second here. She has 28 attack with magic, right? This guy has 5 resistance. That means it should deal 23 damage, right? Let's try it and find out. Oh, there's a helpful pre-attack screen. Let's see what that does. Select the right weapon, and here you can see all in the bottom right corner all of your combat statistics that you were just looking at with that equipped weapon. Now you can change it to the other one and see what the difference is. Honestly, there's no difference except that it does super effective damage against horsies and armor dudes, and that's all I have to say about that. Anyway, Moonlight, 15 damage. Oh, wrong guy. Here we go. 23 damage, exactly like we thought. Now, I will admit, it's almost always easier and better just to look at it through here. Like, oh, she won't double attack because there's no special symbol. But we know she has a 98% chance of hitting. She'll deal 23 damage. She has 25 HP left. And we know everything about what the opponent's attack will do as well. So in every way, this is a superior and very helpful way to look at statistics. And I recommend using it all the time. But sometimes you won't be able to check this, and that's why it's important to know how these things work, especially when you're trying to figure out who's best to give the stat increasing items to, how to give supports out, you know, all those things that determine what each of your attributes do, because if you don't know how they work, then you're not going to be able to make the correct decisions.
And that's about all you need to know about attributes and statistics in Fire Emblem. You could get a little more in-depth with it, and I recommend it if you're having fun with the topic, but it's not really necessary to understand how the game works. Like I said before, most of the stuff you can figure out just by having your units, like, attack the enemy. You know, like, just pretend you're going to attack, and then don't. Or do. I mean, sometimes. I like to test out a few things and decide what the best course of action is. Anyway, guys, next week we'll be delving into a more advanced topic, so if you didn't really get anything out of this because you're already a Fire Emblem veteran, stay tuned. Next week we'll be doing a more interesting topic, and pass this on to someone else who could actually benefit from it, if it didn't, or if it did for you. I mean, if you know anyone who would like to know this kind of thing, pass it on to them, and we'll keep spreading the news of Fire Emblem. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll be back in a few days to release my top 10 list of Fire Emblem characters. And then after that, I'm going to have to take a little break. I'm going to be leaving on a vacation on February 4th through the 13th. So I'm not going to be able to make any content for about a week and a half. So bear with me a little bit. In case you're wondering, yes, my shirt is a different color. You can figure that one out for yourself. Anyway, again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.